All right. I've been doing a series of videos where I look at a single verse in the Bhagavad Gita, and I look at like about 18 different translations of the single verse just to try to get at what is the verse really saying? What is maybe the most accurate translation that we can give for this verse? What are the issues with the verse, first of all, that lead to problems with translation? And usually is at least one thing in the verse which is challenging to translate. Sometimes it's two or three things. A lot of times it's just one or two words. I have some good news, and I'm happy if anyone would like the finished version of the Gita that I've been translating. I finally finished it. I'm ready to put it up on Amazon. It's ready to go. I hope to have it out very soon. I will let you know. But if you want a free version, a free PDF, send me your email, and I will get it to you. Okay. If you want to, if you then want to order it, great. If you want to write a review, great. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying, if you like it, I know you are going to like it because it's a very good translation. I've worked very hard on it, countless hours. But anyway, here's the verse. We're going to do chapter 8, verse 21. I'm going to read the Sanskrit, then I'll give you my translation word for word, and we'll go from there, okay? Avyakto kṣhara ityuktas tam āhuḥ paramam gatim yam prāpya na nivartante dhāma paramāṁ. Okay, what is said to be unmanifest, avyakta iti-ukta, the imperishable akṣhara. This is declared to be the paramount goal, tam āhuḥ paramāṁ. Those who reach it do not return. Yam prāpya na nivartante. That is my supreme abode. Tat dhāma paramāṁ. Okay. What is said to be the unmanifest? Avyakta. We've seen this word before. Unmanifest. Sometimes people translate it as non-manifest. It could be non-manifest or unmanifest. Could also be without form, invisible. And then you have the word akṣhara right after it. So avyakto akṣhara. Akṣhara is generally translated as imperishable, indestructible, sometimes eternal. You see the word imperishable a lot. Imperishable or indestructible cannot be destroyed, right? So it's unmanifest and cannot be destroyed. So what is said to be unmanifest? Avyakta iti-ukta. Iti is thus. Oftentimes you see the word iti as like if whatever is before iti is in quotations. So you could say unmanifest avyakta in quotations. Ukta is what is said to be, right? It is declared, it is said. So what is said to be unmanifest? The imperishable akṣhara. Now, is it the unmanifest? Is it the imperishable, or is it just unmanifest, imperishable? Because it could be, you could use a the, or you can use an a, right? Or it could have either the or could have nothing, right? So it could be what is said to be the unmanifest, or what is said to be unmanifest. What is said to be the imperishable, or what is said to be imperishable? What's the difference if you say one or the other? Well, you'll see that some people capitalize unmanifest with the capital U, and some people capitalize imperishable as with the capital I, as if you're saying the unmanifest, like this is the name of something, right? I think that's a mistake. I think it could be, in reality, I don't think it matters if you have a the or nothing there. It could be what is said to be unmanifest, imperishable, or the unmanifest, the imperishable. I think it could go either way, but that we have to talk about that, right? And that's going to come up. So that's one issue with this. And then again, and then you could say, is this one thing like unmanifest, imperishable, or is it unmanifest, comma, imperishable? Right? I'm choosing the comma there. What is said to be the unmanifest, the imperishable, right? It's two things, not one thing. This is declared to be the paramount goal. Tam, āhuḥ, parama. I use the word paramount for parama because it's kind of like paramount, right? Paramount means the highest. Goal, gati. Sometimes gati is translated as path or way or destination. I think goal or destination is probably the best. This is said to be the paramount goal. Okay? Those who reach it do not return. Yam, those who prāpya, reach or attain. Nivartante, they do not return. Tat, that. Dhāma, abode. Paramāṁ, my paramount, right? Again, parama, the same word. Parama, mama, my supreme abode, my supreme dwelling place. This is my home, right? Where I really am is in the unmanifest and the imperishable, or unmanifest imperishable. So the highest goal is also my highest abode, right? And that is unmanifest and imperishable. It's avyakta and akṣhara. All right. So with that in mind, let's go through these different translations, starting with Winthrop Sargent, who I used for my translation mainly. So he says, this unmanifest is the imperishable, thus it is said. They call it the supreme goal. So they call it āhuḥ. I guess we'd have to look at that. If it should be they. Could be they, right? It could be. The problem with, saying they is, who is the they? This is Krishna talking. Who is Krishna talking about? They call it the supreme goal. Who is the they, right? That's the problem with using they. But of course, if it says they, then you want to keep they. But it's a problem with the meaning of the verse. Is like, who is Krishna talking about? They. Probably the wise. The wise know this to be the supreme goal. Attaining which they do not return. Right? Basically what I said. Those who reach it do not return. This is my supreme dwelling place. This is my supreme abode. Same thing. Okay? Basically the same. Except he says this unmanifest is the imperishable. I say what is said to be the unmanifest, the imperishable. It's a little different, right? It's a little different. Let's see what other people say before we comment on that. All right. All right, Ramana Maharshi. I don't think he translated it into English. Someone else translated it. But this was one of his 42 most important verses in the Gita. So this is one of his, okay? The one who is spoken of as unmanifest, as also imperishable, so that's like what I said, is also called the supreme goal. That again is my Lord's supreme abode, after reaching which people do not return to their world anymore. So that again is Krishna's, meaning the Lord's supreme abode, after reaching which people do not return to their world anymore. So they transcend the world completely. They transcend whatever loka, right? They don't need to return to a body. They don't need to return to a world anymore. They have attained the absolute, and there's no going back after that. So this is more similar to what I did than to Winthrop Sargent. Eknath Iswaran. Those who realize life's supreme goal know that I am unmanifested and unchanging. It's a little different. He's changing the meaning a little bit. But not too much, right? having come home to me, they would never return to separate existence. So he's paraphrasing it. He's changing it a little bit. He's definitely changing the wording around. But it's basically the same idea, right? It's basically the same idea. He's got the idea. He just has changed it. He's used some authorial license, poetic license. All right, it's good. Radha Krishnan. This unmanifested is called the imperishable. Him they speak of as the supreme status. So for gati, he has status, which is fine, right? Those who attain to him return not. That is my supreme abode. So he uses him twice here, which is not really in the Sanskrit, and it might be a little confusing. And I don't think it really needs the him, because Krishna is really talking about himself. So that's a little confusing, I think. Otherwise, it's good, right? Otherwise, it's good. So next one. Swami Nikhilananda. The unmanifested is called the imperishable. It is said to be the ultimate goal. Now, it doesn't say it's called, well, maybe it, let's see. Unmanifested is called the imperishable. Avyakta iti-ukta. Let's see. Avyakta akṣhara iti-ukta. Yeah, it could be. It actually could be. He could be right about that. So I need to think about that, because that could be a good way to translate that. The unmanifested is called the imperishable. It is said to be the ultimate goal from which those who reach it never come back. That is my supreme abode. All right, this might be the best one yet, and might be closer to Winthrop Sargent. Yeah, maybe Winthrop Sargent is right in that. Swami Nikhilananda as well. So I need to look at that. Swami Tadatmananda. That is the imperishable unmanifest, the supreme goal, they say. So he's just putting it all in one there. They say, although there's two they saids really in the verse, right? That is the imperishable unmanifest, the supreme goal, they say, which is okay. It's all right. They do not return having reached that supreme abode of mine. Okay. The question is really in the first, avyakta. The problem is with the avyakto kṣhara iti-uktas. That's really where we have the difficulty. All right, next one, Aurobindo. He is called the unmanifest immutable. Him they speak of as the supreme goal, soul, and status, and those who attain to him return not. That is my supreme place of being. Him they speak of as the supreme. Where's the him? That was also in Radha Krishna. Where's the him? Tom is really this, I believe. It's not him. I guess it could be him. We have to look that up. Let's look at that real quick here. Tom.
Dad?
Yeah,
my
bud.
birthday can also have a lamp that goes on a battery.
Yep.
A battery.
Yeah, bud. But let me finish this video.
Lamp
Let me finish this video, bud.
A kid's lamp for camping.
Okay, bud. Tom. I'm just looking this up real quick here. Meaning of Tom. I think it really means more. I don't know if him, I guess it could be translated as him, but I think it's more this. I'll have to look that up. So he is called the unmanifest immutable. Him they speak of as the supreme soul and status, and those who attain to him return not. That is my... Well, we'd also have to look at... Let's do that real quick here. Because what's the verse before this? This is what we have to look up. What is the verse before? We have to look at this in context, right? It's always important to look at the context. So what is the context? What is the verse before? What's the verse after? Let's do that real quick here. Sorry to interrupt this, but so here we go. Verse 820 is 820 says, "Yet verily there exists higher than this, the unmanifest state of being, another unmanifested, eternal, which is not lost even when all beings are lost." Okay, but it's not talking about a him. That's the important thing here. This is this is verse 22 after the verse. This is the Supreme Spirit, Purusha Sapara, or Arjuna son of Pritha, indeed attainable by unswerving devotion, within which all beings stand, and by which all this is pervaded. Right, but still not talking about a him. It's referencing something, but it doesn't necessarily. I mean, you could use the word him, of course, but let's go on. So Aurobindo again he is called the unmanifest immutable. Him they speak of as the supreme soul and status. He's using two words there. It only has one word, but he's using two. That's okay. And those who attain to him return not. That is my supreme place of being. All right. Parama Karuna Devi. She has one of the best translations that I've seen. Let's see what she says. That eternal, non-manifested. And then she has in parentheses, Brahman is the highest destination / goal. After chaining it, one does not fall back. That is my supreme abode. Eternal, non-manifested. All right, so she has, for akṣhara, she has eternal, non-manifested for avyakta, that's fine. She has in parentheses, Brahman. She wants to make sure that you understand that this is Brahman. It's the highest destination goal. She doesn't have a him there. She doesn't have a he or a him. I think this is one of the better translation. She doesn't bring in the they say or it is said, right? She leaves that out completely. Why does she do that? Probably because it's weird. It's like, why would Krishna be saying, well, they say? Why does he say, I say? That's the problem there. So maybe she was correct to leave that out of there. It's like, okay, we don't need to put that in there. Swami Shivananda, what is called the unmanifested and the imperishable, that they say is the highest goal or path. He has in parentheses path. They who reach it do not return, and then in parentheses to the cycle of births and deaths, right? They don't return to samsara. That is my highest abode, and then he has in parentheses place or state. So he's covering all his bases here. He's like, well, it could be this, but it also could be this, it could be this. Which isn't a bad way to translate. But, if you're kind of new to the Gita, you might be like, well, which is it? If you know a little bit about Sanskrit, you know a little bit, then you're like, okay, well, yeah, it could be any one of these things. That's good. I mean, that's also good because it makes you understand that the English word might not be sufficient, right? The English word might not be fully able to say what it really is, right? Even the Sanskrit word maybe it does not really say what it really is, and that's why Krishna keeps using different words, right? Srila Prabhupada, that supreme abode is called unmanifested and infallible. I don't know if infallible is a good word here. I think that's not a kosher translation of akṣhara. Although maybe it's a stretch, right? So that supreme abode is called unmanifested and infallible, and it is the supreme destination. He's taking a little bit out of order too. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abode. Yeah, when one attains that, I think the idea is that when one attains that, when one reaches that through yogic practice, one never goes back, right? So it's lacking. I don't know if that's the best translation. It's okay. Jeffrey Armstrong, Kavindra Rishti. The avyakta, unmanifest, and akṣhara, indestructible, place, and he has those in quotations, is the paramāṁ gati, and in quotations, ultimate destination. That place is the final goal and ultimate abode from which one never returns. It is my paramāṁ dhāma, and then he has in quotations, the beautiful realm where liberated immortal beings perpetually reside in their highest state of perfection. Okay, that's an addition. That's filling it out. He's filling it out. He's giving in a way, he's giving kind of a commentary. Even though his book says it's not giving commentary, but a lot of times his verses do kind of give a commentary on the meaning. And that's okay. Everything he said here seems more or less correct. And he is translating the verse. He's leaving out the it is said or they say, right? He's also leaving that out. He's doing the same thing Parama Karuna Devi did, because it's weird, right? So maybe he's right. Maybe they're both right to do that. But I think if you want an accurate translation, then you would translate those words, because that's in there. It's right there in the Gita. Why would you take that out? You could go both ways. Like, it's weird. Why would you leave that in? Because it's confusing. On the other hand, that's what it says. Jayadaya Goyanka, Gita Press, the same unmanifest which has been spoken of as the indestructible is also called the supreme goal. That again is my supreme abode, attaining which they return not to this mortal world. Okay, I mean, it's got everything there. Yeah, more or less. He's got it more or less there. They return not. Does it say return not to this mortal world though? It just says they do not return, right? So that's a little addition, right? But it's, I mean, like Shivananda says, they do not return to samsara. It could be another world. It doesn't necessarily have to be this mortal world. There's other planets, there's other universes. I think the idea is you don't go back into a body. It maybe not, not a body on this earth and not a body on another earth or another planet, right? I think that may be the meaning as well, that we can't discount. That there's life on Earth, but there are other worlds, there's other planets, there's other. But we can leave that question aside, for right now. Swami Atmananda, that unmanifest imperishable is the ultimate goal, and that is my supreme abode, from where there is no return. He's got it. I think he's got it right there. Right? He's more or less. Very good translation. Very accurate, right? Faithful translation. Except he also left out the they say or it is said. He left it out. Right? Sri Purohit Swami, the wise say. Right? So he's adding that. The wise say that the unmanifest and indestructible is the highest goal of all. When once that is reached, there is no return. That is my blessed home. Blessed is not used there. It's parama, unless you translate parama as blessed. I guess you could, but Usually parama is like ultimate or the highest or the supreme or the paramount. I use the word paramount. So he's also adding the wise. He's filling it in. He's saying, well, it's not just they that say that. It's the wise say that, right? Otherwise, you might be like, who's they? Swami Mukundananda. That unmanifest dimension is the supreme goal, and upon reaching it, one never returns to this mortal world. So that's just like Jayadaya Goyanka said, this mortal world, which is not necessarily there, that is my supreme abode. A lot of people have supreme abode here. He's leaving out the they say or it is said. This is Swami Mukundananda. He also left out, he didn't translate akṣhara either. So not the best translation, I would say. It's okay. But he left out akṣhara. I think the akṣhara is important there. You can't leave that out. SupremeKnowledge.org has avyakta, invisible, that is hidden, akṣhara, eternal, by this name called the place hidden in the darkness of ignorance. Supreme state is called, which having attained, men do not return. That loka is superior to me and my loka. Now this is new, this is different. Saying that loka is superior to me and my loka. Let's see if we can find that in the translation. Unless you understand that dhāma, that home, that place, that abode, is paramāṁ, is superior to me. Except, I don't know if the word would be mama. If it were superior to me, it would be something else. Maybe paramāṁ. Not paramāṁ. Mama is possessive, so that is my supreme home, right? So that's not a good translation. I don't think, no one agrees with that, that we've seen. B.G. Narasimha. It is said to be unmanifest and eternal, and is declared to be, so he had it said and declared, so at least he kept that in there, to be the ultimate destination, upon attaining which one never returns. This is my supreme abode. Very good. I think that's very good. Right? He got everything in there. And finally, we have Sir Edwin Arnold. His translation came out, I believe, in like 1888, and it was very, very influential, I believe. This is that life called the unmanifest, the infinite. So akṣhara is infinite. The all, the uttermost, thither arriving, none return. So he left a lot out there. He added some things and he left some things out. Not the best translation, but fun. We love his spirit. His translation has a lot of spirit, and maybe that's the most important thing. Let's go back to the beginning. So, avyakto kṣhara ityuktas tam āhuḥ paramam gatim yam prāpya na nivartante tad dhāma paramam mama. What is said to be the unmanifest, the imperishable, this is declared to be the paramount goal. Those who reach it do not return. That is my supreme abode. In a way, I'm translating parama two different ways, so maybe I should just keep it supreme, right? Parama Supreme. Maybe I'll do that instead of using paramount, because that's kind of like I'm trying to be too smart. Let's just keep it supreme goal. This is declared to be the supreme goal. Those who reach it do not return. That is my supreme abode. And Winthrop Sargent has, this unmanifest is the imperishable. Maybe he's right. Maybe I will change it to that, because because I believe the verse before had avyakta. Let's look at the verse before, 8:20. Yeah. I think he's right, because the verse before talks about avyakta, right? The unmanifest or the non-manifest. So he could be right that this unmanifest is akṣhara, right? This is imperishable. So that makes sense, and I think I will go with that. I'm going to change my translation to accord with that, because that makes more sense. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Would love to hear your comments, your feedback, anything you want to share about this. Again, my translation is going to come out very soon. I'm basically done. As you can see, I'm still tweaking it, and I'm happy to send it to you. You just send me your email, and I'll get it to you. So, talk to you later. Hari Om Tat Sat.